Connect with our team at iliveradio.com or follow us at iLiveRadio across social platforms.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
The number one hit music station.
Hello, hello. This is Donna Savage from Talk with Savage's Eyes on iLive Radio tonight. Tonight is going to be a very hot topic with two beautiful, amazing ladies, Tamara and Crystal. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Oh my God, so happy that you guys will be able to. I know it was short notice. Well, thank you so much for joining me. So the topic tonight is to stay or not to stay in a relationship. So Tamara and Crystal is going to be telling us a little bit about their story. But before we get into all of that, Tamara, just tell me a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. I'm a single mom of two, a boy and a girl, 13 and almost 15. And I work in social services. I don't know what else to say.
No, though, that's good, girl. Crystal?
Hi, I'm same thing, single mother of 3 kids, very active during COVID, doing my best to train myself and help others through this COVID. Just really excited to share my story as I was very suppressed before about self-expressed. So now I'm wholly excited to share and help as many people as I can because I think that's why I experienced what I experienced.
Okay, thank you. I'm so happy that you two phenomenal women want to share your story, because for those who are out there, male and female, who's having the issues. So before we go on, so my first question, ladies, so you both are married, right?
Were, yeah.
Yes. So how long were you together before you guys come to this realization that this isn't working?
That it wasn't working?
Yes, the relationship wasn't working. How long were you guys
together? I would say at this point, probably maybe 6-7 years in, maybe, I think 6 years in. I think the red flags were already, they were just there. I started noticing stuff and I kept putting it aside. And I think it just got so overbearing that at that point, at 6 years, I knew that it was bad. I knew it was bad.
And you, Tamara?
For me, we were together since I was 18. He was my high school sweetheart. So we were together 20 years, and I really didn't notice anything until right before I left. So maybe I left in November, so I'd say in the summer is when I noticed. So like 4 or 5 months.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to go back in history for a little bit. I'm going to start with Crystal, since Crystal so Crystal, what you're saying is that you saw the red flag before you guys were together?
Well, like right at the beginning, I seen them, but I always attached it with something. I wasn't good enough, or he had a bad day, or there was always an excuse. So I didn't really know. Like I think for me at the beginning, I just thought that was normal. Like we had a little bit of arguments. Like now I'm realizing the words that he was using, now that I'm out, was very abusive. But during it, I thought he was having a rough day, and I always just kind of let things slide. And then when 6 years hit, around that time frame, it was physical with the kids. It was way out of hand. It was unlivable. I had to make a change. Because it was too much, way too much.
So you said it was physical with the kids. Were he physical with you, or was it
there was a few times, yes, with me, and mostly for me though, it was verbal, mental, emotional, and financial. Physical a lot with the kids. I really tried to get him help. A lot of the times the kids would tell me, I'm actually still learning some of the stuff today that he's done physically to the children. There was sexual assault, lots of abuse, lots of CAS calls, lots of police calls. Like it was just too much. It's too much to look at and think that that's healthy. I knew that it wasn't healthy. I shouldn't be dealing with that, on a constant basis.
Wow. I'm so speechless. Tamara, you said you and your husband were together for over 20 years, and you see in the last, a little bit before you left. So the relationship was good up to that point?
Well, there were signs earlier, like when my son was born, He was a preemie, and my ex expected me to, like, the day I had him, start looking for work because I was not working at the time. So I remember that whole process of my son being in the hospital for 7 weeks, how upset I was because he wasn't supportive at all then. But I just shook it off. And then there were times we were around family, and like none of my family liked him. And he was disrespectful. He called me a bitch one time, and I remember defending him to my grandmother, saying, no, that's just how he is. But she was like really upset about it. So there were little signs, but because I loved him, I just didn't even focus on that. I was just blinded by like love. So I didn't even think of that. And he was abusive with the children as well. Like, he spanked them for peeing the bed. And I remember sitting there, like, just watching them in tears. And he thought it was like funny. He would laugh and he'd spank them with a belt. And so now, even when I hear a belt, when someone snaps a belt, it bothers me. So yeah, I did notice things, but I kind of just suppressed it and thought, like, this is how marriage is. So I just have to get on with it and just deal with it.
Wow. One of the reasons why I decided to bring you ladies on, and I mean, physical abuse and mental abuse and any kind of abuse in a relationship is huge, and it's not talked about. Crystal, you and I have been on a journey before. I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of know what's going on, and
Yeah.
I just think your story is so powerful because I myself, kind of was in the same predicament, and for years, and let me, and if you guys agree with me or not, just let me know. For years, you kind of blame, so it was me, and for everything we're thinking, we're kind of feeling sorry for this person who's putting an abuse on you. He's going through a rough day, or his child was this, or her child was that, because just because it made us feel good because we didn't want to leave because of our own insecurities. And I heard you mention, Crystal, that because your own insecurities why you left. So we're going to go right back. Growing up, did you see your parents going through the same thing?
I did, and it was a cycle. So I had to do lots of work on myself as to why I attracted my ex-husband when I met him at that time. But it was a cycle because my dad passed away, and he did change. He was very physical with my mom. My mom did leave, 4 kids, same thing, single parent, did the best she could. I'm very proud of my mom. That's who I am today. But my parents over time became friends. I mean, I am so honored and grateful that it was bad. Like the way my dad physically, when I say beat my mom really bad into the hospital. And, she was able to, put that in the past over time. And they became friends. And when my dad passed away, my mom was at the funeral helping pay for it or helping us arrange it. They became amicable. When family got together, they would talk and communicate, and there just was no animosity. So I'm grateful that I got to experience that. But one thing I can say with my ex-husband, that and I know I can say it right now, that won't happen. I know people tell me that I'm not, that's very negative. But when you're dealing, I've been in the divorce right now for 6 years, and it's been constant battle, constant just attacking me all the time. I still have to call the police.
After 6 years?
My house. Yeah, still. Oh yeah, it's still. I mean, it's not as bad, but it's still there, and still control, still power, trying to tell me how to live my life. And he doesn't understand. I think abusers don't understand. Like, you live your own life. You can do whatever you want, but I can do whatever I want. But if I do something that's not the way he wants it, he still thinks he has power and control to tell me how to live his way still, so that's his problem. I'm not taking that on anymore. I've made lots of decisions and growth that he can deal with that. So.
Wow. But you have forgiven him to a certain degree. And I mean, in terms of forgiving someone, you don't have to be front and center, because forgiveness is for us, right? To make us be better. So you've done that, the whole homework.
Absolutely. I did actually assignments on forgiveness with him. Radical Forgiveness is a book by Colin Tipping. I've read it twice. I did the exercises in it. I do forgive him. I do send him love and light, because I do think we're all God's children. But I do still make a stand for myself and put boundaries in place, because it's still abusive. He can still be abusive verbally. So I just send him love. I wish him the best. Why would I not want the best for him? Because if he is the best, then I'm not going to have to deal with the abuse. So I do want him to be happy, and I want the best for him so that he can be who he needs to be in society and community. You know, some people just don't want to do the work, because when you do the work, you have to go back to childhood and look at the trauma you've been through. And he doesn't think there's any trauma in his life. He thinks he's perfect.
Exactly.
He looks at everybody else and everything's wrong with everybody else, but he refuses to go back into his own childhood to actually really do the real work, authentic work. It's painful. It's not easy. And so he projects all of that childhood trauma and pain onto me. And that's what it looks like.
Wow. Tamara?
Yes.
Wow. What about you, my darling? Did you experience physical abuse in your home when you were younger?
No, there wasn't physical abuse in my house. Not that I recall at all. My parents split up when I was 13. But my parents were still, like, they were friends from high school, so they were still friends still. They still, to this day, like, they're still friendly with each other. So no, I think for me it was more of, I was always a people pleaser, and I was trying too hard to make everyone else happy. So I lost myself in that marriage. It was all about pleasing him and then pleasing the kids. So I think a lot of it was that. It was just not wanting to upset him or anything, and just fully, we were living his life his way. And I got lost in that and wasn't remembering that I was a person too, and that I had needs and wants. So I think it was mostly that.
So how did you wake up and realize that change needs to happen? And Crystal, you're going to answer that too after Tamara, okay?
For me, we went on a family vacation, and I'm not overly proud, but we met someone there, and him and I, met this guy at this club we were at, and then he gave me his email. So we started talking after, but just talking. He lived in Miami. So I feel I had an emotional affair, and he kept, like, he was listening to me. He actually heard me and cared about the things I was saying. And I realized, okay, wait, I wouldn't be doing this or talking to this person if I was happy in my relationship. So I went back and I told my husband, and he said I shouldn't have told him that it made our sex life better to talk to this guy. So I should have kept it to myself. And
hold on. Your sex life become better since he knows that you were talking to him. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I thought, he said, there's some things you should keep to yourself. There's nothing wrong with him. There's something wrong with me. And I was like, okay, wait a second. In a marriage, shouldn't I be coming to you to tell you if something, like, I didn't feel it? There shouldn't be secrets. I shouldn't be talking to someone else if things are well with us. So I went to therapy and then realized I wasn't happy and that I deserved better. And then that's when I ended up leaving shortly after that.
So you just left. Was it hard to leave? Did you think, what was your thought? What was your thought process in leaving? Because it doesn't sound like it was a crazy abusive relationship. It just sounded like he took, I shouldn't say that. It's, it's, people would say, you know what, Tamara, it's not too bad. Maybe both of you could do counseling, because a lot of times when the newness is gone from a relationship, things change or things switched. Right. So did you guys do counseling together or anything? You just decided that you did. Okay.
Yeah, I said we should go to counseling, because if I'm talking to someone else, then obviously we need counseling. And he said, no, there's nothing wrong with me. You're the one with the issues. You go to counseling. I don't need to go. That's what he said. So I went, and then I realized I deserve better than this.
Awesome.
And it was really hard to leave, like, because I was a stay-at-home mom, and he was making, like, all the money and, like, good money. Like, we had enough money to go on vacations, and we each had a car. Like, we had money. And to leave, when I'd left, that's why part of me was trying to wait to leave. I was told to do a safety plan and to try to get some money, take some money that we had, but that didn't end up happening. One day I just got so upset because he sat me down and went through how much money I had spent that month. And I thought, wait a second, like, you're treating me like a child. Wow. How come you can go and spend $50,000 on equipment to mine Bitcoins, but I can't spend $300 on a Bon Jovi concert? So I got really upset, and then I ended up leaving that night, going to my sister's, and then never went home again after that. He called me that night, and then he said something about divorce, and I said, yeah, let's do it. And then he said he never said that, but he said it. I remember that.
Wow.
But yeah, it was really hard. It was financially, it was crazy hard. Because he took all the money out of the bank account. So I had nothing, like literally nothing at that point.
And you had his children.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, like, nothing financially, but yeah, I kept the children.
No, so I'm saying he knows you have the children and took everything out of the bank account.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crystal.
Mine was my daughter actually tried to, take her life because of everything in her marriage. It was so abusive that she, was trying to get my attention. And she did say to me that if I didn't leave, that she was never going to talk to me again. So, for me, it was like, if my kids or you, like, sorry, like, not sorry, I'm not going to say sorry to that. And that's when I was like, okay, no more. My kids are my kids are actually destroyed right now because of all of the abuse in the home. And he didn't see it. He just thought nothing was wrong. And I thought all of the CAS calls and police and the abuse, nothing, that was nothing to him. And same thing, I was a stay-at-home mom. So it was really challenging. So when I made that decision, he cut me off everything. And so I left and I actually stayed in a friend's home. And I didn't even had no plan. I had no idea where I was going, what I was doing. 3 kids living in someone's basement, trying to figure out, how am I going to find work? How am I going to find a place to live? Like, how do I pay my bill? Like, I had a car, thank God, but how do I pay for the gas, the insurance? Like, it was all that stuff was spinning in my head. And sometimes I'm like, I just want to give up, because that was a lot. When you're just like, you're at ground zero, and then you have an abusive person now that you're there who's constantly attacking you. So even though I left, the abuse still surfaced even more intense after you leave. It's not during, because they're still trying to control you. Yes, you're resisting and fighting back and trying to, like, find yourself, but it's actually when you leave, and for me, my experience, it gets more intensified because you're gone. They're scared you're telling everybody. Everyone's going to find out who they are. So it becomes more intense. For me, it was like really bad. Very intense.
You crushed his ego.
Yeah.
Ego is like the number one killer out there, right? How old was your daughter?
She would have been, I think, 16.
Wow.
15, 16. Yeah. And she's 20. She's 22 now. She's going to school for firefighting. She's changed her life around. So my kids have gone through immense amount of trauma. And my goal was to get them out and try to do as much as I can, for them to know that was an unhealthy environment, right? So it's very vital, important to show them that even still what I'm going through with him, that's not okay. It's not okay to abuse anybody, nobody, not even say anything unkind. It's just not tolerable. So I'm making a stand. I'm speaking out today for it, because I think before I was scared to speak, because what's he going to say? Is he going to, I don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm speaking from my heart, and know that other people need to know, what we go through and how we can help other people.
Yeah, because it's about you now, right? You and the kids, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you were in that relationship, both of you ladies, did he ever try to put a wedge between you and your family and your friends?
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
Same here, near the end. I didn't notice it. I don't know if he did it earlier, but right before I left, that's when I noticed he started to. Like, he didn't want me to go to my sister's house.
Hey, this is Emily King, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
The internet.
Radio. You're listening to iLive Radio. This is Jay Most. Enjoy.
How you doing? What's good? It's Nkechi the Lyrical, sitting in my zone here, vibing and listening to iLive. And if you don't know, get to know. And if you do know, you don't know. And if you know, then relax and enjoy the ride.
Attention à tous les musiciens, groupes, associations, clubs et organisations qui représentent les styles collectifs de musique à travers la Canada. Le moment est venu de reconstruire nos genres des nations musicales collectives comme le hip-hop, le R&B, le jazz, le soul, le reggae, le gospel et plus unis. La Nation de la musique collective est une organisation à but non lucratif engagée dans le développement de la musique collective. Des adhésions gratuites sont disponibles dès maintenant. La Nation de la musique collective, une seule voix, la force dans l'unité.
Nothing makes you look, feel, and perform better than a tailor-made suit. Just like a tailor-made suit, a mortgage is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions will customize a mortgage to perfectly suit your needs. Come and get fitted for your mortgage today at 1-877-834-9346 or reach us on the web at ctmortgagesolutions.com. COVID safety protocols are in place. Brokerage license number 13228.
You're listening to iLive Radio.
Here are some words of wisdom. Don't change your station. Don't change your station.
Welcome back to iLive Radio. Ladies, I will get this one of these days. I'm so sorry. I should have warned you about a break. Okay, so we're going to go back. For those who are listening, we're talking to Crystal and Tamara, and the topic of today is, should I stay or should I leave relationship? And before we left, we were asking about if your partners try to put a wedge between yourself and your family.
Yeah, sorry, I think I was in the middle of it. I was just saying, yes, he was. He did near the end. I didn't notice earlier, but near the end, because there was one day he didn't want me to go to my sister's house, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, it's just my sister. What's the problem? But he was adamant that we not go. So it was little things like that. And then he started monitoring me, like he tracked me on my iPad. And I was like, okay, like, what is with that? Why are you tracking me? And he thought it was funny. And just things like that just started happening closer to the end. And I said, yeah, no, this is not what I want. This is not what I should have to put up with.
Well, and it's so funny that you just noticed at the end, you know? Crystal, what about you?
Yeah, even with my kids, I was trying to do a wedge too. Not me to talk to my older daughter because she was starting to get self-expressed and realize what was happening. So she was being expressive. So she got kicked out and didn't want me talking to her, not on my cell phone. Same thing with family. And had cameras in my house. We'd always watch me and see who's coming, going. Like it was just out of this world. And even with my brother and my dad, like he didn't want them visiting much, and he wanted to cut them off if they didn't come enough. He would say they're not like family, so I don't want them around the kids, right? So he's using all kinds of different stuff to to communicate with my family, saying that they're trash, they're garbage, they're not where they should be in life, so you shouldn't be like that's just a lot of stuff like that, just putting them down a lot too, and then just saying things about them to manipulate my brain in terms of, families should be like this, not like that. So there was a lot of that going on too.
So how were your exes with their family? Did they have a good relationship?
Yeah, well, yes and no. I did see some intense arguments with his sister, because he had a sister. His mom, yes, but one thing I'm going to say and is that his mom babies him still to this day. So what happens is, I think that she didn't, even when I left, I was supposed to meet with her because she didn't know what was going on in my house. So she had no idea. I kept it silent, right? So when I did leave, I said to her, you have no idea what's going on. So can I meet with you to at least talk to you? Because he's cutting me off to talk to his mom. He didn't want us talking. And so when I talked to her, she goes, okay. She called him and he said, don't meet her. I don't want you talking to her. And that was the last time I've ever talked to her. I've never talked to her since. It's been almost 6 years.
What about the grandkids? Does she talk to them at all too? Should the grandkids know?
Yeah, not to me though. No, just the younger one. But completely just cut me off because he doesn't want me telling anything. He doesn't want to expose what really happened.
Wow. Tamara?
For me, his family, it's a nightmare. I shouldn't say nightmare, sorry, but his mother was schizophrenic, is schizophrenic. So he she was in a CAMH. She was in a like a halfway house. She was first in CAMH and then in a halfway house. So I wouldn't say he was close to her really. His dad is like not, his dad was not a very good person. And his stepmother used to like not feed, she'd feed her own son and not him and his brothers. So his family situation wasn't good, but he was close with his brothers. He has 2 younger brothers. He was close with them, but he was like the top dog of all of them. Like he would support them kind of and help them out. They would look to him for support. None of them have contact with my children now. He lives in Chile. He moved to Chile to avoid paying support. So he's not that much in our lives really, which is great. It's really nice, to be honest. Wow. But he just talks to the kids through FaceTime when he feels like it. So yeah, that part I don't have to co-parent, which is really nice. But heaven. I hear stories and I'm like, I feel bad for people to co-parent.
Tons of horror movies out there. So did any of you had anyone you could talk to? Crystal, did you have friends or family? Did anybody know what was going on? Because I know I
kind of kept it for a lot of people. I had a best friend that I did talk to and other friends, and eventually I was sharing them with stuff and showing them videos of the abuse. And they said, you got to get out. You've got to. So they were helping me. And then I had friends help me as I left. Thank God. Help me find a place, help me pay for bills until I was able to pay them back. So I'm really grateful that I had that support, because if not, I don't even know how I would manage to where I'm at today. So I'm very grateful that I had friends and family. My mom, she was on my speed dial. My best friend, I spoke to them every single day for hours because my ex was a very intense actor. He was on me every day, all the time. So I needed to have an outlet to like, how do I deal with this? So it was pretty heavy.
Wow. I know. I haven't met your mom, but I've spoken to her a bit on Facebook.
Yeah.
She's an amazing woman. I have to give kudos.
She is. Thank God for her.
And Tamara,
thank God for moms.
Thank God for moms. Trust me. That's the stories that I have about what my mom did for me when I was married to my ex.
Know.
If we have time, I'll talk about that. Tamara, what about you? Did friends and family, did your sister know what was going on?
Yes, near the end, I think. I don't know if I had told her earlier because I didn't really notice it earlier. But yeah, my sister and my mother, like, thank God for them. My sister let us move in with her, which was a godsend because I had nowhere else to go. And my mom had lived with us at the time. So, and she was actually in Hawaii when I left him. So when she came back, she had to come and live with my sister, with us. So yeah, thank God for my mom. She's been such a help with my kids, like throughout these 8 years. I couldn't have done it without her and my sister, both of them. My brother helps too. But like, yeah, with sisters and moms. So yeah, thank God for them. And I had friends too. I'm not as close with some of them now, but yeah, my family was really helpful.
How did it feel, ladies, after you spent so many years of being mentally and physically and emotionally drained and abused in every which way? How did it feel to get up and start living in your own place, even if it's not your own place, but with a place of safety and love and reassurance? How did it make you feel?
Alive.
I felt, alive. It made me feel that I now have control. And it made me realize, it made me realize that I completely gave my entire being to this person. And here I am trying to recreate myself, which is a good thing though, because I did a lot of work of myself. And so it was beautiful, but it allowed me to see I had lots of work to do. It wasn't like an easy just place and everything's in place. It was like a lot of internal work on me. But moving in my own place was beautiful to be able to do that, to have a healthy environment, to do the healing and the cleansing of all that toxicity and drama. You need to have a healthy environment.
Yeah, it was really nice. Like I would wake up every day, and even though I didn't have like the physical things I had before, it just having that freedom. Like freedom was like, oh my gosh, I'm free. I can live my life my way. I can do what I want. It was the best feeling in the world. Like still to this day, every day I'll wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of there. Like, yay. And it's the best feeling.
You ever look back and say, what the hell? What was I doing? You know, what? Why?
Yeah.
When did it happen? Why? You know?
Exactly.
But sometimes, you know, as I said earlier, when Tamara was talking about that, she didn't realize it until the end. We all sleep, eh? We sleep on everything. You know, we're thinking we're paying attention, but we're so asleep in everything that we do. And the minute that you actually open your eye, and Tamara, your eyes open when you glimpsed a little bit, but I guess your eyes open when you went away and, you know, somebody was paying attention to you and you start talking to this person, you know? And it's like, you know, it's a brand new feeling. And the crazy thing about it is, what I love about that you guys left is the children, because our generational story needs to end.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that you ladies left and start anew and start giving some new memories to the children makes a huge difference. You know, because I know, Crystal, I know you, one of your businesses, you're a personal trainer, correct?
Yeah.
You know, and to just do that alone, because I know you're a personal trainer, you're a coach, so that means you have reinvented and Crystal came back. Because at that point, when you were living with your husband, Crystal wasn't around anymore, was she? Maybe baby Crystal was.
No, you're right. You're right. I was actually just dealing with family and him, trying to keep him happy. That's what I was doing. I let everything go. I actually left my career. I left everything because he wanted me to be home, and it was power and control. Because when I left my career to stay home, I was scared to do that, number one. And then what happened, we got into an argument. He goes, get your stuff and get out of my house. I'm thinking, we bought this house together. And not anymore. He would say, get out. And I'm thinking, what? Like, and he was the one that, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. I want you home with the kids. Don't worry. Like, it's going to be great. And I fought for years. I didn't want it because I was afraid of that. He's like, I'll never kick you out. Like, trust me, we're married. And just made, you know, and eventually I was tired of arguing. So he said, I promise you, just leave your job and everything will be great. And I did. And actually, the moment I did that, it was like a war zone every day. He had so much power and control over me that I always gave in, because it was the financial part too. He paid for everything. I was stuck in a position of, how do I take care of these kids? I have no job. I left my career and he's paying for everything. That was the first thing on my mind for a while was, where am I going? And he would say that, you're not going to live without me. You cannot live out there without me. You've got nothing. And so he would tell me that every day, and it would go in my brain. And I'm like, he's right. So I would stay, because he would tell me, they're like, where are you going? So I'm like, I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore. And he's like, no, where are you going? You have no job. That's what he would tell me. Where are you going? You're pretty much like, surrender, just stay here, kind of thing. So that was my life with him, was just do whatever kind of, you know, he wanted.
Wow. So all this program is going into your head that you can't go anywhere, you know, no money, you can't do anything without me. Tamara, did you go to the similar fact too? Did your husband ask you to leave your job, or was it a mutual thing?
From what I remember, he did want me to stay home. He said, because it made more sense. The money I was making at the job was paying for daycare. So it made sense to stay home. But yeah, he did want me home. And then I noticed more of his power then, because he was like, well, it was his money then, because I wasn't making money. And it's like, okay, wait, isn't it our money? But he's like, no, it's his money. So yeah.
You and Crystal has the same story then, you know, now that you guys are home, you know, it's my money. It's mine. So let me ask you a question. So did you guys get like an allowance like kids? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I did.
Mine was e-transfer. He would e-transfer me money. It wasn't really allowance. Like one thing I have to say is that if I wanted something, he would buy it. And it wasn't like, he wasn't like that. He would just e-transfer it to me. That's one thing, like if I wanted something or needed something, like when everything was, when we were together, he was okay. But the moment I said that I actually I was leaving and left, that's when he completely cut me off, everything.
No, for me, it was near the end. Everything's near the end. I don't know if I blocked stuff out or not, but near the end is when he started to get pretty bad about it. And I remember on Halloween, the year that I left, I went and I bought like chocolate bars, chips, candy, and gum. And he told me, take the chocolate bars back. We don't need to give all of it out. And I'm like, it's $10. Why do I have to bring it back? What's the point? And he said, no, if you don't take it back, I'm going to take away it was either the car or the phone. And he meant it. So I was like upset, but I took it back. I'm like, you can't take away, I'm pretty sure it was my phone then. And then when I ended up leaving, it was the car. So I took it back, but I'm thinking, why can't I spend like $10 on chocolate bars? Like, why can you spend whatever you want, but you're going to force me to bring back $10 worth of candy bars? And it was things like that. It was always, we could do whatever he wanted to do. But if I wanted something, I had to ask. And yeah, it's sorry, I'm getting upset now, but it's like,
I get it, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good that we can laugh about it now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The mental power that these men believe that they have. I just want to, we are the ones that make them into those animals, because honestly, I believe if we had stood up on our foot from the get-go, we would have gotten to that.
Yeah.
But as you said, Crystal, as you said, when we, and Tamara too, when we live in a home, things are happening around us growing up as children. And and we're seeing it. So it becomes so familiar to us, and then then we attract these persons to us, not even realizing this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But so we meet them sleeping, we have a relationship with them sleeping, so whatever they say is like, okay. And we agree with it versus saying, what? Because I know if a person like your exes come to you right now, you're going to tell them to kick
I'm
off.
out. And there's no way. No.
Because you're going to recognize the signal, right? You're going to recognize the signs.
The communication, everything. Like I learned so much about, I mean, not that like, but I can see I've been able to, as dating, I've seen communicate. I was like, nope, I know where that's going. Like, you just know, right? And so I was able to really like dissect that. Like, nope, I know that's what that journey is going to look like.
We should all get a red flag. And if you're dating someone and it comes around, you just string the red flag away. You know what I mean? So at this point, we're supposed to be able to see the red flags and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So are you guys dating now or seeing anyone?
You go first, Crystal.
Oh, I actually am. So it's been almost 6 years since I left, and I dated for a bit, and I had a challenging time because there were so many things coming up at me. I wasn't ready, and so I stopped again. And I just, I prayed a lot, and it was like, God, can you please, place someone in my life that is God conscious and that's respectful and loving and accepts boundaries. And I am dating somebody now. It's since August. Yeah, August. And he's a beautiful soul. I'm so grateful for him. Wow. And he's just wow. I'm in awe because I knew him from before too. And it's crazy that I'm like, I can't believe I'm dating you. Like I knew him from before. And so, but I'm grateful because he's a very humble, relaxed, very spiritual, God-fearing person. And that's really what I want in my life. My ex-husband wasn't that. We had two different value systems. We had everything was completely different, right? And now, even though we're both two different beings, we have similar values and the right vision of ourselves, what our future looks like. So I'm grateful for that.
Communication is on point.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's so funny. You said you knew him for a while. And you're just now actually seeing him, eh?
Yeah. Well, this is the crazy part. So I'll share. So when I left, here I am. I dated him when I left my marriage because I knew him, but it didn't work right away. I was like, you know what? We're not ready. We both knew we weren't ready, and I wasn't. I was just leaving. I left my marriage. It was only like maybe a few weeks in or a few months in at this point, and I just knew that I needed to heal. So I contacted him. We both made a mutual conversation of it. Like we both weren't ready, and we still communicated along the way. So we were still friends, and we met up, and we did other events and stuff like that. But yeah, and then we kind of lost touch. And then I reached out to him last summer because I was doing a fitness competition.
Yes,
and that's when we connected. And then
every day. I voted every day. You can continue now.
Oh.
Wow. So Tamara, when we come back, you're gonna take up where Crystal left off because we're gonna go to a commercial break in like 20 seconds.
Okay.
but in the interim, so just think about what we're going let me know if you're dating. You don't have to say anything and where you are in your life right now and how are you ladies feeling. So we're going to go on commercial break in 15 seconds. I just don't want them to come and interrupt us again. And I'm looking at the clock counting down. So and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll see you in like 2 minutes. And and it's gonna go now. And it's gone.
This is Adrena, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hey, this is Bay Bright, the bad boy indie soul, Bright Vision Entertainment CEO, and you're chilling, listening to iLive Radio. Keep it locked. Keep it locked. Keep it.
This is Cheryl Brooks, and you're listening to iLive Radio, supporting independent artists and their music.
Hello, I am Erica, and you're listening to iLive Radio with some of the best independent artists from around the world.
What up? It's your girl Shanaz, and you're listening to some of the best independent soul music from around the world with iLive Radio.
This is Miss Care, keeping you connected with your iLive 5x5, brought to you by iLive Music, sponsored by Independent Hype, and powered by The Hook Entertainment. Contribute to the conversation by using hashtag iLive5x5.
For the latest and greatest in soul music and more, stay tuned to iLive Radio throughout the week.
Connect with our team at iliveradio.com or follow us at iLive Radio across social platforms.
You're listening to iLive Radio, www.iliveradio.com.
Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back. This is Donna Savage at Talk with Savage Desires on iLive Radio. So for those who are joining me tonight, we're talking about to leave or not to leave a relationship, where we have Tamara and Crystal as my guests tonight. So Tamara, back to you. Are you dating anyone, and how are you feeling dating? How does it feel to be dating somebody else after 20 odd years of relationship with one person?
Currently, no, I'm not dating. But I have had 2 serious relationships since, 2 actually that lived with me. And the last one, it ended in December. So I'm still healing from that, but it's been almost 3 months. I'm like ready to date now. I want to date again. I'm tired of being in the house. I would love to date again. It's just so hard to meet good men. That's what I'm finding. But I was using dating sites before and I got off, and I don't know, I might go back on. I'm not sure.
So the 2 guys that you dated in the past, did you meet them on a dating site?
The second one, yes. The first one, no. The first one was through a friend that I worked with. And we're still friends. And the other one, yeah, I met him on a dating site. And yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
That's okay. So you're ready to go out and get your hands wet again, is what you're saying?
I want to date, but I know I'm not ready for a relationship. I know that, like, I just came out of one that lasted 7 months, and I kind of feel like I wouldn't mind just enjoying the single life again. It's nice to just, do what I want when I want. Just, I mean, I know you can do that in a relationship, but I feel I give too much in a relationship. I get I'm too giving, and I lose myself a little bit. So I feel now I need to heal still, and maybe just some casual dates, and eventually I know eventually maybe I'll meet like someone who I want to be long-term with, but for now I'm just like, I'm not ready for that. Not yet.
You said you're too given. You were the same given person with your first husband, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I know Crystal mentioned that she did her counseling, and she did a whole forgiveness, right? To recognize who she is. I did one too from an NLP coach. Have you ever done anything like that?
No, and maybe I should, because I don't forgive him. I don't. I tried to, like, it's hard. It's so much that he's done. So it's hard to forgive, because it just hurts still. But yeah, maybe I need that.
Yeah, because the minute you mentioned that, even when he told you to take back the chocolate bar, or you lose your phone or your car, and it was making you mad, that alone right there told me that you haven't forgiven him. And it's funny, I recognize those things too. I remember after my divorce, and I was talking to someone, and I was explaining, what he did, and I started to cry. And the woman looked at me and she said, Donna, you said you forgave your husband. I said, yeah, I did. She said, no, you haven't, because you're crying. Right? Yeah. And that's a form of, it's just the memory, the hurt memory. We're not saying we're forgetting, but we have to forgive in order to move on, because what's going to happen, and Crystal, you can attest to this too, because I know you're doing your coaching as well, is we're going to keep attracting the same kind of persons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the persons that we're going to be attracting, let's say for somebody else, let's say someone was a nurturer or a codependent person, and because she hasn't healed from her last trauma or whatever that she's going through, she's going to constantly attracting those persons.
Yeah.
Person who want to be looked after, persons always say, gimme, 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 and you're going to always give. So we all need to heal. And one of the first healing is forgiving. And it's not for them, it's for you.
Yeah.
Get a piece of paper or something and just go deep down and start writing. Just start writing and talk about forgiveness. And you mentioned earlier too, maybe you're suppressing a lot of things that you don't remember. It happens all the time. It happens so more than none. We have to reach to a point that we have to start living and actually enjoying ourselves. And for me, until I healed, I refused to date. Let me rephrase that. I dated, but I dated just because I need a male companion. I didn't date because I wanted a relationship until I was healed. It's a difference. And for us, it's about us, and it's building us and bringing confidence and attracting the right tribe and attracting the right man or attracting the right woman, whatever sexes that you're in. But honestly, I think you guys should connect, and have a conversation, and maybe you can help her on her journey, because at the end of the day, it's still new, and I talk about sleeping because it happened. We sleep every day. Every day. Crystal, you mentioned about cameras in the house. I remember one day I was going to the office and I got a phone call when I was married. And the person said to me, when you get to park, his best friend called me and said, when you park, call me. I said, okay. So I parked at Kennedy because I used to work downtown. And I called him. I said, what's going on? He says, your husband bugged your car. I said, bugged my car? He said, yes. I said, do you mean he bugged my car? He says, lift up the head of my car seat. And under there, he ripped under my car seat. And there was a bug in there. He's been listening to my conversation for months. And the simple fact, just like you, that ego, this again is ego, because I said I was going to leave. And women cannot leave someone unless we have another person waiting for us. You understand? You know, and now we're not talking about, we're not bullying men, and we're not, you know, because it works both ways, because women abuse men as well.
Absolutely, it happens.
Yes, but the thing is, women want to talk about it, men don't, because it's the ego thing.
Yeah.
Right. But before we go, I mean, we only have like 8 minutes, and I'm going to ask Crystal first, and then Tamara answer. So the question is, for the ladies who's going through something similar, or who has gone through something similar and have no way of knowing how to heal, what would be, Crystal, how would you tell them to try and heal? Or let's say they're dating somebody, what are they looking for? What is the red flag? You know, what red flags are these ladies or men are looking for when they're going into a relationship?
I would say to heal, definitely take some time for yourself, and it could be a long time. Doing reading, exercising, journaling, looking for books that talk about healing, forgiveness, you know, connecting to your true soul, your true self, things like that. And trying to get into support groups as well, because I did that too, and that helped. Because expressing and speaking, and you're releasing it out, but just being home and talking to family, it still manifests. But getting out and speaking to people and support groups, people that can help you deal with the expression, is really, really important. I say health and exercise #1, because if you don't have your mind right, your body right, I feel like it's harder. I don't know, just my experience. Me working out and eating healthy really allowed me to stay focused on me and to work on me, especially when you're dealing with the abuse still. And the red flags, I would say, when you start to heal, when you're healing yourself, you will see those red flags, and you'll know internally, because everyone has, like, it's hard to pinpoint what every red flag is, because everyone's different in relationships. But I would say be very aware and mindful of people's words and communication. If they're putting down anybody, family, friends, and you see them and you're dating somebody and they're nice in front of their face, and then behind they're talking bad about somebody, that's a huge, huge red flag. But just, I would say, how their posture is, their communication, and their aura. You can feel energy. If you really get connected to yourself, from my healing, I've been able to really feel people, like, just really connect and communicate. And when you communicate, they're not sometimes able to communicate back the same way when you met them, because you're feeling them. And they now realize you're feeling their energy, that they know it's off, right? So it's a lot of work, but I'm grateful that I did it, because I'm in such a beautiful place right now. So
good. Tamara?
For me, I'd say healing, counseling definitely is what helped me. Like, counseling saved my life, and group counseling helped too. It was really nice to talk to other women who had gone through the same thing or were going through it at the time. That was really helpful. And like Crystal said, self-care. Self-care is important for sure. For red flags, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know that I'm always that good at seeing red flags. Because I keep choosing men that aren't exactly that great for me. But certain things I would notice maybe is if they're not reliable. They don't do what they say they're going to do. They're just telling you what you want to hear. That's a big one. And just trust your instincts too, because a lot of times we might think, oh no, I shouldn't, I'm just being paranoid or whatever, but trusting your instincts, we know best usually. So I think that's another one. But yeah, I'm not the best with that one. Hopefully Crystal can help me.
Yeah. But you see, the first step is acknowledgement.
Yeah.
But that's something else, right? So, ladies, I want to thank you so much. You beautiful, phenomenal woman who are speaking up. And for those who are listening, abuse doesn't mean it's a physical thing. It's the mental thing, the one that eats you up inside, the one that's just attacking every immune system or anything that's in your body because of words. Oh my God, you're not good enough. You've gained weight. I'm not attracted to you anymore. Words is what he can eat us up alive. Especially if you're coming from a place that you witness it all your life. And then, now you're attracted to this person, male or female, and you're starting to hear the same thing over and over again, that you start to believe this. But the good thing is we have to always have someone that we can speak to. We have to be awake. We have to acknowledge that something is going on. Before we're done, we're going to be done in a little bit. And quickly, because I didn't want to meet a man like my dad. He was the forefront of everything. I do not want a man like my dad. I do not want a man like my dad. And I married my dad. Personality to the T. The only difference is my dad didn't smoke. So we have to be aware, and that's why I asked, what was your past like? Because your past sometimes can reflect your future. Especially if you have somebody not talking to you or explaining what's going on. And you keep seeing the trend from generations to friends and family, and you're thinking it's okay, but it's not okay. Talk to someone. Abuse is abuse. Is abuse. I can't tell you what abuse look like, but you know it, you feel it, you understand it. So for any man or woman that's going out there listening to this program, get help. Speak to someone. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And this is Donna Savage. Make sure you join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. where we'll be discussing from sexuality to sensuality to love, lust, and understanding and breathing and all of that niceness. So next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. join Donna Savage at iLive Radio. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the program.